Oh, if Easter could have got that one away, if there'd have been men on his shoulder immediately. They've got the penalty, but they're looking for much more. They're lining up to the right-hand side. Low taken down. That's the try line. That's how close they are. Care, looking, waiting, scoring! And it's the man who's written most of the best English stories this season who gets it. It just had to be the captain, the Premiership's player of the season, scores the try that may well yet prove decisive.
And it's a brilliant line that he runs. Looks like a lazy line of support, running flat across the line. Go back a couple of phases. Ayerza flies out of the line, creates the gap for Care. Good offload. They go again. They know they've got the penalty. They know it's a free shot. Lowe does well to hold on to the ball, but look at this lazy line across, and that means you can pick a hole. All the eyes of Leicester facing in. You can choose your hole. Castrogiovanni, too late to react. Brilliant score from Robshaw.
Well, he's been talking in the build-up to this of his pride, leading a bunch of players, some of whom have been mates since they were 15, 16. What a moment for Chris Robshaw.
See them saying, don't let what happened a month ago happen now. We got out to a lead then. Don't switch off. Keep playing. Because that day, they stopped playing. They tried to defend their lead. You can't do that against Leicester.
Memories of what happened at the Stoop less than a month ago will be there, but this try has given them a 14-point lead, and that is a big, big gap.
Yeah, and as Ben says, Castrogiovanni stepping out the line, eager to get going, as are Leicester at the restart.
Take a step.
Harlequins just looking to clear their lines.
Hold forwards.
Put the pressure on Leicester to attack from deep. They need to keep their pace up. No, the Quins.
Waldron, where's he going? Runs into Johnston. Gray picks up the bouncing ball.
Gray's had a good game as well.
As has Easter, as has Robshaw, as has Marler, as have most of them.
Playing quite well, Quins, aren't they?
Youngs to Brown.
10 metre.
The kind of kick you want.
That's all working for them, Nick, isn't it? You said it. They've got guys right at the top of all the stats charts, Brown being the main guy, and all those big guys are performing. Robshaw, Brown, there's no need to play rugby now. They're 14 points clear. Keep Leicester their half and keep them pinned back. Feed off their mistakes. And it's those big guys that have delivered for Quins in this second half. Your Easters, your Danny Kerr, your Robshaw, and particularly Brown.
Look at that excitement on the bench. They know they're on the verge of something special. They want to get on and be a part of it.
Run out one by Marler, picked up by Robshaw. Yeah, we talked about the Saracens dynasty 12 months ago. There's been a little punctuation mark in their progress, losing to Leicester in the semi-finals, but there's something very special being brewed amongst this bunch of Harlequins players as well by the brewmaster supreme, Conor O'Shea.
Right, he's not going to tackle him.
We'll learn a lot about what this Leicester side are made of now. They've come from this sort of distance behind again this year. This is Robshaw's line. You can see Castrogiovanni, who had been looking in at the ball when it was at the base of the ruck. He swings out, tries to get his momentum up, and Robshaw's crept across the Leicester defensive line and picked his hole perfectly.
That's fine.
Nafi. Youngs to Ford. Allen. This is a Gouja. This is Tuolangi. And the ball went forward. They've not been able to release Tuolangi in space all match, and then he shows his frustration.
Well, Tuolangi throwing the ball into Mike Brown's face. Didn't like the push into touch after the whistle. Wayne Barnes doing a good job of just calming things down. Obviously forward pass. Brown just a little push after the whistle. To be fair to Alex, he wasn't looking where he chucked it.
It was an accurate shot, wasn't it, without looking?
I'm quite proud of that.
Now significant change in the middle of the Leicester front row. He's not just Ben's elder brother anymore, he's Tom Young's England squad member.
Touch.
And while that elevation to Stuart Lancaster's party has not been universally
This side
approved,
and that side.
Tom Young's value to Leicester this season has been underlined several times, and he is now on for shooter. I'm sure you all know now, converted from a centre by Heineke Meyer when he was ruling the roost at Tigers not so long ago. South African who will be in charge of the Springboks on England's summer tour. Seeing a hooker in him, and he's taken the place of one of the most experienced around.
Pull! Engage! Far side.
Just a little bit of the two teams trying to assert domination again. Now there's been a couple of substitutions there.
Give him a little bit of
Perhaps
room.
pushing a little bit early on both sides. They need to be squeaky clean now. The last thing Leicester can afford is a penalty within Evans's range.
Crouch. Touch. Pull. Engage.
You can see what Leicester were trying to
Relax, relax. It came out of the tunnel, so it wasn't hooked. It came out of the
Quins
tunnel,
were determined to
so
stand
it's the
their
same
ground.
ball.
Two packs concertinaing together.
The thing about this is it's draining energy. So after this, the 5 minutes after this set of scrums, there's going to be holes through the front five. Which team can exploit them? James Johnson needs to be really careful as he got his bind on Ajert's arm and Ajert's folded straight in. That's what he's been penalised so much for this year.
Let's hit high, both.
He's probably lucky that Ajert's goes straight down.
We're in control as we engage. Watch on.
Simone's
improvement this season, though, has been such a plus for the club.
It's just his confidence. He suddenly realised what a good scrummager he is. And he's tearing quality props. Like Tonga last week, Ajert's this week. He's tearing them apart.
This is not just a weighty steadier of scrums, he's a weighty shifter of scrums and a weighty winner of penalties.
Going forward,
the tide
left and coming out of the scrum.
Inexorably is becoming multicoloured.
Yeah, Johnson gets away with this a little bit. He goes early onto Tom Young's. And what Marler does fantastically well is he leads the charge. As soon as he feels that pressure coming, he drags his side up. Johnson goes straight across onto Young's. Marler gets his side up, and then he's dragging the rest of the guys. Now, regardless of whether that's legal or not, it puts it in the referee's mind. Who's on top? Well, Harlequins are walking forward. It must be them. Brilliant play by Marler. Good following from Johnson.
It was interesting to have a look at Dan Cole down below us, who's on the replacements bench now, having been exchanged for Castrogiovanni. He was doing his nut with the fourth official. It's too late now. If this goes over, there will be a sense of closure. No team has ever scored 30 points in a final and lost. And as well as Leicester did, bridging the gap throughout this season, this gap is becoming unbridgeable.
Well, it's a point a minute now. Less than, more than, sorry. Harlequins keep their composure, you'd have to say. they've got this sewn up.
Here goes Monia, and he rides through the tackle of Skivington.
Stole the ball.
Leicester have nicked it back. Tuolangi felt the pain of Leicester's defeat 12 months ago. I think Williams coming in with the big tackle, and he's got what looks like a stinger to his left arm. He's back on his feet though. Brown temporarily had covered the gap, but Leicester might profit from taking him on in the next few seconds. They've got the penalty, which Youngs takes quickly. He's gone straight through Gray. He's looking for support. It's there with Allen. Oh, he's going to do it. Oh, we've seen this happen before. We've seen that man score dramatic tries. He's got another.
Ben Youngs, exceptional. Makes the decision to tap and go. He gets a clean break, but then he uses his head. He doesn't put his afterburners on and try and do it all himself. Puts the brakes on and feeds a man coming at pace to take out the defenders.
Such a clever line from Anthony Allen. Realised the way the defenders were moving, picked the hole and had the pace to go under the posts. As you see, breaks here. This is exactly what Youngs wants. He wants defenders backing off. He goes through, like Ben says, he slows up, pulls defenders onto him. Clever line from Allen. Brilliant finish. Well, Leicester back in it, 10 minutes, 10 points.
Well, I talked before about the importance of Harlequins staying switched on. When the penalty's given, they're all walking back. They think they've won the game. Ben Young spots it. Look, there's too many people walking. Joe Gray in there, Marler. They need to get back the 10 metres. It gives that initial break. And then Youngs picks a great line. Allen picks a great line. What a finish we've got on the cards.
Yeah, the season we've had deserves a great finish, and we are going to get a great finish. Particularly if Leicester get the next points. They have to get the next point if they're to unsettle Harlequins.
Waldron does a good job backing up Skivington there. Ball went over his head.
Oh, and that might go into touch, and it does. Little bits, little bits.
And suddenly there's a few believers in the crowd. 17 points with 17 minutes to go. A few people on thinking, right, I might go back to the car and miss the traffic. I wouldn't if I was you. This could go all the way.
It's all about those swings, isn't it? We saw that period where a couple of forward passes by Leicester when they had overlaps, nothing was going their way. Now the tides changed slightly, everything is going against Harlequins and going Leicester's way.
John.
Oh, Tuolangi.
Well, what was Tuolangi doing? He set off for a pre-called play way too early.
Number 1 Quinn's on his knee behind you, Wayne.
Say again.
Number 1 Quinn.
A guy of this size, he doesn't need to get there that early. Look, as the ball comes down to Waldron, this is a set play.
What stopped?
Manu Tuolangi's there way too early. The ball's marginally forward. But because he's there and he stood still, it looks worse than it is. If he's taking that ball at pace, that pass doesn't look as bad.
It's been a couple of times where he's got in front of the man. He's done it with Anthony Allen, who's thrown forward passes to him. His timing's not right today.
Reinforcements mustering, those still on the pitch, encouraging. Summer's here, which means the scaled-down version of the game. JP Morgan Premiership Sevens with us again on ESPN HD, and we start across the road at the Stoop in the middle of July.
If Harlequins can capitalise on the little bit of dominance they've had in this aspect, keep the ball at the back, but Youngs is there.
Youngs again. Brown shepherding him. He's looking for support. He's rather isolated, but again it was Allen there. But Youngs almost single-handedly is dragging Leicester back into this game. Castro Giovanni. Oh, the big pick-up and tackle from Williams. He's done his defensive duties today. George Ford gets back in one piece to his feet. And they're going to take the penalty. They're going to go for the 3 points, and they're going to move back to within a converted try if this goes over.
Ben Youngs has taken a total grip of this game. Harlequins trying to keep it at the back. It squirts through Rob Shaw's feet. He reacts the quickest. runs away from trouble, looking for support, gets it away, and then when Leicester win this penalty, he was the man saying, no post, referee, let's get back to within 7.
How about that for the last 5 minutes? To go. Harlequins' lead has been trimmed to a converted try.
And what question marks are going through the Harlequins players' minds at the moment? They got out to a big lead a month ago. Leicester hauled them back in. They got out to a big lead when it looked like the game was over. Leicester have pulled them back to within 1 score. They've got to be questioning themselves.
Is this Leicester pressing the gamble button? Is this what Leicester did last year against Saracens? Did they leave it too late? What's going on, Austin?
Well, we'll find out in the next 9.5 minutes, won't we? But I think Quins, as Ben said, took their foot off the gas, particularly that penalty. But that will really give them some advantage now. A slice kick from Tuolangi. This now is about territory. You've got to get into the opposing half and then take your opportunities. Quins now, all they need is a penalty. Take it to more than 1 score, and it will give them that buffer. They've got to turn back on, though, mentally as well as physically.
That thing of dealing with the pressure, it's very difficult to be number 1 and go out and play. You don't want to make a mistake, you don't want to give away your lead. Much easier being the side that's chasing.
That's a record attendance for the Aviva Premiership final. Not quite the biggest club attendance this season. They had bigger at Wembley for Saracens, but
good captaincy from Rob Shaw there, and care, good leadership. No, we've tried playing wide, let's just close the game up a bit, take a bit of the sting out of Leicester's tail.
Ball out.
They can't do this for the next 8 minutes, but they can certainly get themselves back into the game.
Care to Marla, runs into Castro Giovanni and Skivington. Just to present the ball, though, for the likes of Evans to utilise and Turner Hall to make some profit with. It was Carling and Halliday in the midfield in 1991. The last time this famous club lifted a trophy at Twickenham.
Bad communication to the half-backs there. Wasn't on to go that way. It's worked for them, though.
Brown.
Really important tackle from Jeff Parling on the speed man Brown on the outside. Manages to hold on until the knees go to ground, which is why Brown's penalised for not releasing the ball. Look at this, Parling looks like he's in trouble. Accelerates, keeps the leg drive going, squeezes the legs together.
Jeff Parling, one of England's discoveries of the season. He was the one who affected the tackle. Quins change in the back row. Mauri Farsabaloo has run himself into the floor. Tom Guest is on. Leicester will retake the lineup. This seems like an appropriate moment to mention that if the scores are level, we have 10 minutes each way of extra time and then penalty kicks.
I think you just cursed Leicester scoring there, Nick.
That's what was worth mentioning at this point, Austin.
Guest's a good replacement to make now. As Farsabaloo is slightly more likely to give away a penalty. Guest is solid and he's a good line-out option, both in attack and defence.
That line-out was won by Skivington. It's driven on by Aguja. 7 minutes left of his Leicester career. Carried the sour taste of last year's final with him all season. He doesn't want to carry it with him to wherever he's off to next. This is Parling. Spent this week tending his herb garden in his off time. He got a little bit too close to the soil there, conceding the penalty.
I think it's Manu Tuolangi who's conceded it over the top. Just see what happened at the breakdown.
13, side entry. Yeah, that's right, we'll stop.
It's a good carry from Parling, keeps the leg drive going. You can see George Lowe who's down injured, whoever made the tackle, lying slightly in the way, which meant Skivington went off his feet. Manu Tuolangi came in to do his job.
I think it's Nick Evans that's down, Ben.
Nick Evans.
I think he took a clash of heads from Parling in the tackle.
He did, and Skivington went off his feet, tripping over Evans. Manu Tuolangi comes in to try and cover for that, comes in at the side. Here's Parling, head on head.
Here are the replacements. Scott Hamilton is on, as is Graham Kitchener. That's the last time we'll see George Skivington in a Leicester shirt.
Worth noting that Scott Hamilton's one of the best receivers as a crossfield kick. If Leicester get into that situation, perhaps on the Quins 22, they batter the line and they try and pull some of the defence in, he's the man you want out there for that crossfield ball.
12 Trees has replaced George Ford as well at 10, and Evans is back on his feet. Lugaviti Mullapola as well to finish up the housework, replacing Marcus Ajertza. 19-year-old has done his job, nothing more he can do now. Alongside him, Julian White. Calling time on his career at the end of this match as well.
I have to say, I'm surprised they've taken Ajertza off. No, sorry, Aguja off, because the way he's played in the outside channel, he's given Leicester a really good go-forward ball when they haven't had it around the field. Unless he's injured, I don't know, but for me, he's a real X-factor guy that can turn something from nothing, and that's exactly what Leicester need now in the last 6 minutes.
OK, I told you that's 5, your choice.
Kitchener into the middle of this defensive Leicester line-out. They find Robson.
On 5.
Harlequins have done a good job at just taking the sting out of Leicester in the last couple of minutes. We're hearing that Aguja isn't injured. It was a tactical decision by Matt O'Connor and Richard Cockrell to bring him off and to end his Leicester career. Still don't know what kind of medal he's going to be going back to the Midlands with in the next 5.5 minutes. Robshaw.
Good control from the two Harlequins halfbacks, bossing proceedings.
This is Evans. Might be a little bit far out at the moment for a drop goal, but he's in a handy position.
Big hit from Castrogiovanni. The work rate of Robshaw is superb, isn't it? They're just keeping it tight. They're trying to force Leicester into giving away a penalty around the breakdown.
Off his leg!
Tom Youngs was leading that latest Leicester assault. 12 Trees, who's on his way as well. He'll be a Gloucester player next season. Here goes Johnston. Comes into Youngs, I think it was, who shepherds him backwards.
Quins don't need to make yardage. They need to bide their time, make Leicester make the mistake, be that leaving a hole in the defensive line or just giving away that penalty because they get frustrated. They know they've only got 3 minutes to get this ball back and cause some damage.
Evans to Monia.
Stop the counter-attack by going off his feet.
Maybe not the final opportunity to launch an assault, but a significant opportunity to drill the ball deep into Harlequins territory.
Well, that's the danger when you play that pick and go. Not trying to get anywhere game is that as soon as your technique's not perfect, the referee's looking for a reason to open the game back up.
Now this is a big change. Clearly Nick Evans is not feeling on top of his game. Oh, maybe he is, because he looks surprised by that decision, but Rory Clegg's on. The RPA Player of the Year.
Stop the competition.
At the moment, set to end the year with a Premiership winning medal.
So Leicester have an attacking line out just inside the 10-metre line of Harlequins. Backs calling their moves.
tough decision though, because the backs have done absolutely nothing for Leicester in this match, whereas the forwards we know could potentially drive over from here. It's 40 metres out. I suggest keep it with the strength of Leicester in the pack. They're not going to.
The pressure on an inexperienced hooker, the biggest game of his life, he's just told. And how did it happen? Harlequins double loaded, got a couple of defenders in the air and gave him something to look at just as he was about to throw. Robson goes up, Rob Shaw's up as well. And he panics, doesn't put enough through with his left hand.
Biggest scrum of the season now, Nick. This is one scrum I'm actually looking forward to watching. Quins win this ball, secure it. It's going to be tough for Leicester to get back in it.
James Johnston knows that. So does Lugaviti Mullapola. Oh, they got the penalty! Oh, what a moment!
We got caught high, we went on the arm and went on the floor.
Billy Tweltrees has the ball in his hand, wants to put it into the corner. Marler doesn't agree with the decision.
Number 3, caught high, went on the arm.
How close can Tweltrees get this to
great
the
kick.
flag?
It's a great kick.
Absolutely brilliant. He's 6-7 metres away from the try line.
Danny Kerr geeing up his troops. He knows they haven't defended the line-out drive particularly well this year. They've given away a lot of penalties. They haven't worked as a team, but I guarantee you 5 metres out in the biggest game of all of their lives, they will work as a team now.
The odds on extra time are being reassessed at the moment. Still a lot of work to do.
Good patience from Leicester in at the side.
But another
puts
penalty.
more pressure on.
Replacement 6 side entry.
Kerr, as your mind inevitably goes back to last season and that heroic defensive effort from Saracens in the face of countless Leicester phases of attack. It looks like the story has been reset. Youngs to Kitchener.
Lynn.
No advantage, side entry.
We'll come back for the penalty.
In that game, when Leicester were camped on the Saracens' line, I think they lacked imagination and they've tried to batter their way over. It didn't work. Will they have something else in their armoury this time?
You ever think being a professional rugby director of a club is a good idea? Look at the look on Richard Cockrell's face at the moment.
Well, I think he's annoyed because they probably spoke about what would they do in this situation. They'd probably go for the scrum, especially with, like Ben said, an inexperienced hooker.
Biggest throw of Tom Young's career. Oh, and he's gone long and he picked out Parlin and it might yet work for them. What a brave throw that was.
Easter didn't look legal as he came around there. He's got away with it. He snuffed out this attack. What will Leicester do? Do they reset the drive? They can't do. It all goes to the scrum.
And time is up. Time is up. What a finish to the season. We've got another one. For the third time in 3 years, the final is going down to the last act.
What was the most important scrum of the year?
The next one, Ben.
Listen to the crowd. Two fresh props for Leicester against 2 men who've done a sterling job all game. Have they got the energy for one more? They win the hit.
Youngs has been told to put it in. He hoped that Wayne Barnes might reset that, but it wasn't coming. Tweltrees, this is the moment. Oh, what a tackle that was from Lowe. Kerr's there as well. And it's a penalty to Quins. And that's the moment. For so long, English rugby's aristocrats, and now they have the crown.
We need to put the ball out of play.
Nick, and it was the man of the match, Chris Robshaw, who stole the ball in the final act. He wins the Peter Deacon medal. He's been at an unbelievable year. Captain of England, captain of the winning side. What a season and what a player.
There's still some housekeeping to be done here. Has anyone kicked the ball out of play yet?
No, but everyone's going to be lining up to try and catch it in the crowd. Fully deserved and great to see the team that finishes top in the regular season.
Here we go. The honour goes to Clegg. The ball high into the north stands. Harlequins, English champions for the first time in their history.
What an amazing finish to an amazing year. Marla had a fantastic game. All the big players for Quins put their bodies on the line. They had enough energy to see them through, and as Ben said then, it's good to see the side that comes top of the league, has played some of the best rugby all year, seeing themselves through to the end. Tigers put on a brilliant performance in the second half. Ben Young's played some of his best rugby of the year, but it just wasn't enough. And man of the match is Chris Robshaw. What a year he has had. He wins the Aviva Premiership, Peter Deacon Medal, Man of the Match award, and he has had some season, hasn't he?
Peter who did so much to revolutionise the game of professional rugby, the marksing guy at Saracens in his time. He's done such a job to create days like this that today belong to Harlequins, and we can get first reaction from Sarah very shortly. Just watching her down on the pitch, she will have a player soon.
Delighted for Conor O'Shea as well, one of the nicest guys in the sport, and he's planned today's tactics perfectly. They got out into that lead. It was only then that Leicester looked for the first time to show a bit of attacking brilliance through Ben Youngs, but his game plan was superb.
They've led the season since September the 17th, the third weekend of the season. 254 days later, they crossed the finish line first.
Absolutely, and they changed a few things today, which nearly cost them, but the thing that served them so well all year, their 100% play, was what created Williams' try. The way that they went back to the things that they've done well all season. You get to a final, you're tempted to think, well, we're being analysed, let's change our game. But it's the stuff that has held them all year that saw them through. And you have to say, their set piece was excellent.
Now then, let's get the reaction from the man of the match. Chris Robshaw is with Sarah.
Thanks, Nick. Well, Chris, Premiership champions for the first time in this famous club's history. Can you put that into context and sum up what it means to you as a group of players?
Not at all, really. I mean, it's so surreal. I think we owe a lot of it to the fans. I mean, we walked over from the stoop and they gave us a guard of honour, and I think a lot of the players got quite emotional and thought, this is a pretty special day, and it's so nice to repay them. And it's been about the squad all year. I think we've really developed our squad, and that meant we could compete on all fronts.
At 15 minutes remaining, how difficult was it to block out those memories of the stoop last month?
Yeah, it was a bit difficult, especially when kind of Ben Youngs went through and they scored off a couple of our silly mistakes today. We switched off and probably got a bit naive, and those last kind of minutes when they kept going to the corner and corner again, and it was a bit nerve-wracking, but I think that's credit to the belief we have in the squad at the moment. It's just outstanding.
A word maybe on your director of rugby, Conor O'Shea. How instrumental has he been to the elevation of this club?
Yeah, Conor's been brilliant. I mean, he's probably the most positive man you'll ever meet, and I think that reflects in the way we play. We always want to go out there and play rugby, and I think, yeah, credit to him and all the coaches that put us in a great position, and the players who really bought into that.
This has to be the crowning of the most remarkable individual season a player has ever had. Of all the highlights you've had this season, will lifting that trophy be the most special?
I think so. I mean, it's something you do for 8 months, and I've been at this club now for about 8 years, and to play rugby with guys when I was playing with 17, 18 years old, and it's just so special. I mean, I'm surrounded by a great group of coaches and players, and I think that shows in the way we play, and it's just credit to give the fans something. I mean, we've had some drama in the past couple of years, and it's a lot of people wrote us off this year, said we were only there because of the World Cup and stuff, but it's always nice to prove some people wrong.
Well, Chris, this couldn't really have gone to anyone else going by the season you've had, but congratulations, you are the Aviva Man of the Match and the winner of the Peter Deacon Medal, and here is Paul Bamsey, the Aviva representative, to hand you the medal. Congratulations.
A fortnight today, Chris Robshaw will lead out England in the first test against the Springboks in Durban, June the 9th. What a year. What a player, what a young man as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And he mentioned that they've had some problems through the year, but he's been a shining light for English, British rugby in that fact throughout the season. He does everything on the pitch. He's a brilliant role model off it. and a real credit to Harlequins in the game.
So often it's been everything but the cigar for Harlequins. Not on this occasion, though, and one of their star men, Nick Evans, is with Sarah now.
Well, Nick, you're finally Premiership champions. Can you kind of sum up the emotion, what it means to you and this club?
Not really, probably not as articulately as Robbo can, but what a season. Just thank you to supporters. I mean, look at the crowd today, beautiful day, but I mean, that game just sums up our whole season. Like, play well, get 2 scores in front, and then make it interesting and let them come back. But just so proud of the guys, you know, for what we've been through. You know, we've been there to be shot at, and we've held everyone off, and we've done it, so it's magic.
I mean, the building blocks for this has been there for a while, hasn't it? Yeah,
it has been for a while. Even the Dino days, you know, the group of players, that's been the most consistent thing. Nothing's changed in the playing department, and with Connor coming in and building the culture and the attitude that suited us, and we're reaping the rewards now, and we thoroughly deserve it, and so do the fans.
Yeah, this club has seen some dark days in recent years. You had relegation, you had Bloodgate. You know, does lifting this trophy, does it mean even more because of those days?
They're gone. As far as I'm concerned, they're gone. The players that are gone a long time ago, and you know, I know with all due respect to the media, it's always going to be there. It's a tattoo on the club, but as far as I think the fans and everyone now, you know, we try and play a great brand of rugby. We try and entertain, and we've proven today that it's brilliant. It works.
I mean, Conor O'Shea has mentioned that this could be the start of a golden era for this club. Does it feel that way? What more can we expect from this Quinn side?
I hope so. I hope it is. If we stay together as a team, then I'm sure we'll hopefully get a lot more wins and a lot more trophies. Hopefully.
A huge congratulations, Nick. Enjoy tonight.
Thank you very much. Just a shout out to all those. We've got a lot of supporters of Quins in New Zealand. So thanks to my family and all the supporters back there. You're legends.
Yeah, I was just thinking he might have been going for a trophy that is a little bit smaller, the World Cup at the start of the season, but goodness me, this is some consolation. He's never won a major trophy with a club. What a day for Nick Evans.
Well, he's one of the stars of the game, and his control today was all important, the way he bossed people around, particularly when Harlequins got into a good position, and he was saying, no, don't give it to me, forwards, you set up, you drive it in, let's test Leicester, and it was enough in the end.
The other side of the coin. So many memories for him, so many great memories for Alassana Tuolangi to take away, but his 7th and last Premiership final is a losing Premiership final. I'm sure that we'll see 19-year-old George Ford back in many more to come, but you can't take it for granted, and that's the pain, isn't it? Never take this day for granted, because it might not happen again.
It's going to feel really painful at the minute, but I think Leicester as a club can be very proud of how they changed their season around. Had they lost at Newcastle, which they could have done, they would have been bottom of the league. Richard Cockrell, the coaching staff, the players, they should all take a huge amount of pride in the way that they stuck to their guns, turned things around, and as a team came out and played some of the best rugby I think we've ever seen from Leicester sides over the years. And they'll feel sad now, but it's been a hell of a season for them as well.
A word of well done to the officials. They kept a largely low profile, which, with the greatest of respects to them, is how we like it. Toby Flood, very close to being part of this day, but now just left with the head shakes.
The heartbreak for those guys is, particularly the guys that played, you feel that you've got to wait 3 months now before you can do anything about putting this right. It's not like when you lose a game, you can turn up the next week, put it all right. You stew on this for the rest of the year, and it's 2 years running for Leicester.
Yeah, that's right. Saracens last year, another set of Londoners this year, and as Austin said, let's not lose sight of where they were at the end of the World Cup. If they'd have lost at Kingston Park, they would have been bottom first couple of months at the wrong end of the table. But look at them now, and they're not collecting winners' medals, but it is a sign of the quality of the team that's recognised by the likes of Conor O'Shea and everyone who plays against them, that they've got back into this position. They were never hungrier to win a title than they were today, but today they were beaten by the better team.
The only thing it does sometimes say is when a team plays expansive rugby and they go into big games like a final, having had 7 bonus points or whatever it was that Leicester had, when you get into those tight skirmishes and it's not going your way, you're not used to fighting for it.
Here they come, and the man man who's covered more metres for them than anyone else this season, Mike Brown. He's travelled over 1,500 with the ball in hand, but there will have been no sweeter set of steps than the one that took him towards the trophy just then, Austin.
Absolutely, and people were saying, why isn't he playing for England? We've got an embarrassment of riches at fullback now in England. Brown has had a monumental year playing for Harlequins. He's the rock at the back. And when you've got a player like that behind you, it builds confidence in front. You know if the ball's kicked over, he's going to be there to clear it out. Players like George Lowe, really talented English players. And this Quinn side, and Conor O'Shea said it about a dynasty, he keeps them together. There's a good chance they could be challenging in Europe next year.
Medals being handed out by the chief executive of Aviva UK, Trevor Matthews, and Mark McCafferty, of course, from Premiership Rugby. Conor O'Shea drinking it all in. Young Rob Buchanan, whose time will come. Tom Guest as well. Thomas Vallejos, the Argentinian, and the man at the back, Chris Robshaw, waits. Chris Brooker on his crutches. We might not see much of him next season. Marler and finally Robshaw. And as much as it might be an Olympic year, for one day only, and one day magnificently, silver will do.
Setanta Sports, the only place to watch every game of UEFA.